Ladies and gentlemen, we got breaking news as we seen reported by Adam Scheffner. They did it. They cleaned the house. The Miami Dolphins are officially releasing star wide receiver Tyreek Hill as well as their star DN Bradley Chubbs. They're finally do it. We're gonna talk about what this means for the organization as well as these players, and we're gonna talk about some places that we think Tyreek should be targeted now that he's a first time free agent in his career. But y'all gotta hear that music first, though.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of NFL Central. It's one of your hosts here, Steve-O Speaks in the building. As y'all seen in the intro and the title and the thumbnail, they moving on and they starting over. It seems like, hey, the Miami Dolphins just came out 2 hours ago and they made their first significant move and moving on from Bradley Chubb. They started the end, who is going to be 30 in June. So both of these guys and Tyreek Hill are both going to be in their 30s. So as we all know, Tyreek Hill is the biggest name, was just released a couple minutes ago. He's released for the first time, and he's now for the first time in his career going to be an unrestricted free agent, which is, I think, is a good thing for him, in my opinion. We're gonna talk about Bradley Chubb and what that means for them as well. But the bigger name, of course, we all know is Tyreek Hill, and we all know ever since he's been Miami Dolphin, it necessarily didn't go as well as planned. Don't get me wrong, Tyreek Hill was Tyreek Hill. He was still the cheater nonetheless. Now we know he's coming off a season-ending injury with a dislocated knee as well as a torn ACL. But I still think with modern medicine and everything around that, he's going to return back into a pretty similar fashion. But as we go over the stats that he was in Miami, so he was in Miami for 4 years. So it was a nice, significant time that he was with him. Pretty much his first 2 years, he was the cheetah. 17,000 yards total. The last 2 years is when it dwindled. So last year before that is the one where he dropped, where he had 959 yards total, and then this year where he wasn't able to finish the season with 256 yards total. And yeah, it's a mixture of the down seasons that he did have. The last two was, quite frankly, inaccurate quarterback play and a lot of things coaching wise. And honestly, roster wise, it was not. They had the offense rolling for the most part. Defense was a problem as well, but also the quarterback play wasn't also consistent as either. And that was the story that was always the story going into the move. Now we know his history with Kansas City and everything. Everybody thought he was going to return, but when Miami came with that counter offer and it was much more money on the table, he decided to take his talents to South Beach. And the story from that point forward was, can the noodle arm of Tua Tagovailoa handle the speed of somebody like Tyreek Hill? And we seen how he responded. He never talked or wish-washed about how he felt about him. He always supported his quarterback and felt like Tua had the arm to do it. That we all knew he didn't, because there were so many times, especially on deep balls, where he threw the ball and Tyreek had to slow down. And that just is what it is. Like, going from Patrick Mahomes to a Tua is just two different levels, and it was evident on the floor. But regardless, those first 2 years, he still gave you chances to do things. Giving 1,700 yards is not a small feat in any realm, in anything, especially in the National Football League. But I think it's a good move on both sides. He's 31 years old, finna be turning 32 in March. Like I just said in the beginning, he's recovering from a dislocated knee as well as an ACL tear, which like most of the time that's a career in a season-ending career-ending injury. But like I said, with modern medicine and everything going around, I think it just make more sense for him to come back. At least not 100% of what Tyreek wants to see. He might be not a cheetah, but he might still have that cheat in him. But I still think he'll be somebody that that will still come back to be somewhat of his former self. But I also think he also gonna have to get better in his route running because, like I said, I think he's gonna lose a little speed. Like he's not gonna have the same type of burst that he's always had because, like I said, regardless of how good the medicine is, a dislocated knee alongside with an ACL tear is a lot to compound on the knee. So hopefully he gets to return with that. Now, the first move of the day, which we also talked about, was Bradley Chubb being on the move and he's being released. And like I said, both of these moves, you're getting off significant money as well. And it's just time. Like, quite frankly, you don't really have a direction. You got a new coach in the building. You just fired your old coach. You basically retooling the whole office of not the whole office. You're retooling the whole coaching staff. You don't know who your quarterback is going to be for the most part. It seems like not only is the media down, but the people in around Florida and Miami are not fond of Tua, and it's just the mixtures of being injury prone and the mixtures of being very inconsistent. Like the one thing about Tua is he can be very good when it comes to pre-snap and everything like that. But when it comes down to it, if you're not a physical dominant player or you don't have a physical trait that's just astronomically better than others, such as athleticism, arm strength, arm talent, which he doesn't, you have to either be extremely smart and accurate. That's it. But what it is he's smart, but he's not all the time very accurate. He's very good in pre-snap. He's very good in a lot of situations, but when it comes to just, especially if it's a weather game and it's a little rainy and it's probably a little wind gust, you don't know if that ball gonna get there on time all the time. So I think that's what it falls short when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa. But now let's get into, in my opinion, where these guys can honestly grow to. Now let's start with Tyreek Hill. If I'm Tyreek Hill, there's only three places I'm looking at, but there's one place I'm mainly looking at, and I think we all can guess and agree on this. Make your return back to Kansas City and realign yourself with everybody that you was there previously. Get Eric Bieniemy back in the building. Big Red is the head coach still, and it's just bring back the old times. Like I think honestly, you really, really, really should go back to where you came from, honestly, because at the end of the day, that's where you won your championship. That's where you received your most success. You're playing with the best quarterback in the league. And yeah, I think it not only would it be good for him, it'd be good for the organization as well, because like I said, it just seemed like they're going back to the old times, bringing Eric Bieniemy back as the offensive coordinator, as well as like they got a chance to, especially in this draft, to get some actually quality picks to actually improve this team for sure. Now, my second team, Buffalo. Why I say Buffalo? If I'm Tyreek Hill, I know what the best play like, and I'm only want to be around the best. So I'm not going to I'm going to sure things when it comes to the quarterback position, and I'm going to a place that's going to have a chance of winning, to be honest. So I'm going to Buffalo because they got the next best chance of winning, and they got the quarterback in Josh Allen. And like we all been saying, they need an X, and he could be that X over there. And I think they could do a lot of similar things that they did in KC over there in Buffalo. And my third choice, take Ed down to Baltimore and put yourself a Lamar Jackson. That's another guy who's elite, can do it all. And what's the common denominator that we all been asking for with Lamar Jackson? He need an X. Get him in that X. That would be a perfect place for him to go. Now, those are my three choices. I am seeing Bobby, I'm assuming this is Bobby. He said, you think Giants will have some interest? I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. But would he want to go to the Giants, in my opinion? Because, like I said, I do think his decision has a lot to do with two things: winning and the quarterback. In my opinion, it's only three places I'm going to: Kansas City, Baltimore, or I'm going to the Bills. And you getting a new stadium on top of that. Travis Al just came in the building with just said a good idea, which I didn't think about. Hill could go to the Chargers. Yeah, but it's a lot more question marks surrounding my boy Justin Herbert over there. So, like I said, I think Tyreek Hill is going to more surefire things. I don't think he took a risk already with going to get his money and going with Tua and being in that bullshit for the last 4 years. So I don't think he want to spend. And like I said, this is going to be his last few strides to win again. He's going to be turning 32 in March. So I think he's going to be trying to win for the most part. Now, Bradley Chubb, me and Bobby kind of on the same thing, which he said right here. What would be a good place for Bradley Chubbs to go? And yeah, if I'm Jerry and I'm in Jerry world, I'm going to see if I can go get Nick Chubb. Now, if you look at his production, especially coming in, first of all, if you look at him, he's very versatile. So he can play left linebacker. He's also play right linebacker as well. Now in 2024, he didn't play at all because he did have a torn ACL. So that's something you got to take at him. But right before that, he did have an 11 sack season. And then he came back off the ACL in this season, gave you 8.5 sacks, and that's something I honestly think the Cowboys need. Hell, Chicago Bears could use him, but I'm not necessarily looking for an older edge. I'm not an older edge. Well, yeah, an older end, I should say. Some other teams I think he can go to. Let me think. I want to say the Commanders, but I think the Commanders are willing and trying to get a hell of a lot younger. And he just, like I said, he's going to be 30 by the time the season starts. So, I honestly can see him also being a piece in the championship winning team as well. Like I honestly can see him going back to the Broncos as well. Like if I'm him, that's something I'm possibly interested in. Um, if I'm if don't be surprised. Like I said, we talked about Kayvon Thibodeau being moved. He could possibly be looking at possibly going to New York. Possibly, you never know. Some other places I think he can go to. I mean he's also in a similar situation where I don't think he's going to sit around and try to go to a team that's on the come up. He's going to try to go to a team that's either right there or could be a piece of that part to get to the next level. So let me see. Let me actually look at some teams because I got to actually physically look at some teams to see where he can go. I mean, I don't see this happening, but I can see them going if this happens. So we all know everything that's going on with Max Crosby. If they lose Max Crosby, they're gonna be desperate for anybody. So they lose Max Crosby. I could see them trying to go get Bradley Chubb as well. I could see also the Colts looking at Bradley Chubb. I think they could use a little bit more help on that D line as well. I could also see the Jaguars looking at Bradley as well. That's a good one. What's some other teams? Let me check the NFC. What's some NFC teams? Buccaneers could use them. I think the Buccaneers could use them. They losing on they're getting pretty old too, but who knows with that. And you never know. Hell, the Rams might scoop him up. I can see him going to the Rams as well. You know they their picks be damn, so they'll trade anybody. 49ers, yeah. If I'm 49ers, I definitely, especially with the injury history, bro. I don't know if y'all saw it in the last game of the season for the 49ers when Nick Bosa was there with some shorts on and both of them motherfucking knees is out with a fat ass scar on both of them. It's tough to see because he's such an amazing player. But yeah, you got to have something on the back burner for the 49ers. So I could see that's a good one. And I also can see, honestly, what's another team I can see? Say my final team, I could honestly see Bradley Chubb honestly going to. Yeah, it would probably be, like I said earlier, the Rams. I could see the Rams going to pick him up as well. Cleveland, I don't know. I don't know if Cleveland trying to get any older than they already is, but it's possible. Cleveland, that would be irritating though. Like I wouldn't want to play against Bradley Chubb and Mike Miles Garrett. So hell no. But I'm with Bobby. I think the best place for him to go and the place that need him the most is probably the Dallas Cowboys for sure. But yeah, that's all I want to come on and tell you to break the news that you is. And for those who just coming in or those who don't know or didn't read the title or the thumbnail, Tyreek Hill as well as Bradley Chubb has been released from the Miami Dolphins. I think this is a good move on both sides. Get some money back, release some big contracts that you don't need. Y'all not winning nothing no time soon, and those players are players that are trying and going to be willing to try to win something. And y'all just not in the same bracket. You need to figure out what you're gonna do with your quarterback season. Hell, is this a sign that Tua is on his way out as well? Like that's also another discussion to be had as well. But thank y'all for tuning in on another episode of NFL Central. Thank y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all thoughts on this decision, as well as the people afterwards when y'all catch this live later. And drop it as well. What y'all think is some good places for these two players to go. Because, like I said, they're quality players that's up in age. So I think they're going to be wanting to be with some contenders. But thank y'all for tuning in. It's your boy, Steve-O Speech. Check in with y'all with another live. And we give it y'all with some more moves break. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks